Hello, everyone, and welcome to this conversation presented by White House Custom Color.
Are you trying to mute me?
No, it's just real loud, and I can't.
I sold Amazon when it was $25.
Listening to listen, not listening to respond.
Yes! Oh, thank you for that.
Okay. My name is Spanki. It is actually my real name. It was my dad's nickname. And the story that I always got was obviously he was probably nicknamed that from the Little Rascals.
Yeah.
Apparently my mom was so blinded by love. She didn't think I was going to grow past the age of 2. I don't know. I mean, she gave me a very small window of career opportunity. Thank God for photography, right? So here we are.
Yeah, I was told I was named after, for real, Jed Clampett. So we are, yeah, yes. And so, and those shows, I think, were probably on around the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I feel there's a very special bond between the two of us at this point.
Whether we like it or not, it's
You feel
there.
pain a lot of people cannot understand that I've experienced.
How often do people say, is that your real name or is that your whole name? I get that all the time.
Yes. Or what's even funnier is when people say, do you have a nickname?
And
Do I need one?
Yeah.
I mean,
My nickname and my name are the same.
I'm like, yes, it's Jill. I mean, where do you go from Spanky, really? You know?
I'm going to use that from now on. Some people call me Frank.
Yeah. So
okay, so I wanted to talk about that just initially because that was, to me, that's like the elephant in the room when Jed and Spanky are having a conversation.
Right.
I feel like it has to be addressed. There's a few different things that I wanted to get to with you, and I've been, I'm a creeper. That's what I do.
Okay.
On the webs, on the socials. I don't say a lot outside of what I have to for work, right? For this show and for different things here and there. But I look a lot at stuff. I like to see who's doing what and what's going on and who thinks what. And, sometimes I'm on the same page and sometimes I am not on the same page. But that's not as big of a deal to me as I still want to know what somebody really thinks and where they're at. So with you, the more I looked into you did a deeper dive,
Mm-hmm.
I was more and more intrigued by what I saw.
Okay, you got me. I'm nervous.
Well, and this isn't live. So if I go down a path and you're like, there's a blockade on that path, then we will I will sheepishly backtrack and try to find a different avenue to talk about something else. But the first thing I notice about you immediately past your name, is that you're a photographer. I get that. And that's probably why we're initially having this conversation, but you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So like the photography piece is a piece of a much bigger pie.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Give me a sense of that to begin with.
It's, and I am a creative, and I think a lot of creatives will kind of relate with me here when I say, when you're creative most of the time in one field, you kind of can be creative in a lot of different things.
Sure.
For me, aesthetics is something that over the years of trying to understand myself a little bit, I've had to kind of work backwards as to who I was as a teen and all the things. And I've really learned how all these pieces have kind of fit together to mold me into who I am today. But it took a little bit of like kind of stepping back and going, why do I see the world differently? Why do I struggle with focus when, so my backstory is, I went to college. I changed my major. I was there 3 years. I never graduated because, and I jokingly say, I feel like I graduated, at 3 years in, I was like more of a freshman than I was the day I started as a freshman, because I think I went backwards more than I went forwards.
I like that.
I kept changing my major because so many things interest me. And I started off with architecture and design. That involved way too much geometry and was way off for me. I ended up, I did business a little bit because, you know, my parents being good parents, I'm like, did y'all live with me at all? Did you pay attention to me whatsoever? Because granted, in hindsight now, had I paid attention and followed and pursued business, I'd probably be a lot further along in life than I am now. But you know, I can color with the best of them. So business was not really something to hold my attention. And then I did a little bit of journalism. I love talking. I love speaking. I love sharing. And I actually even pursued, for a hot second, wanted to be kind of like a therapist or some sort of, you know, like I love the human story. Now, 18-year-old Spanky did not make sense of any of this. The more mature, that we're not going to mention my age, Spanky, is like, this makes sense. This was everything I am today was who I was then. I'm just honing into that now. So as a creative and as an entrepreneur, absolutely. So I have flipped homes. My heart and love is in home design. I eat, sleep, drink, and breathe all things home remodel, home design, home decorating, all the things. Again, aesthetically, things have to be pleasing to me. I used photography as my creative outlet when I was having young children. And it was kind of my chance to still have a little bit of like me while I still got to be a mom. And I loved the creative outlet photography. And I've always had a camera with me. I learned early on with photography that I kind of started trying to fit in and do what everyone else did. And it felt really odd to me. And actually I started hating it because what I realized was I didn't take pictures of people and portraits to create art. It wasn't about art for me. I've always carried a camera, literally, I hope my mom doesn't watch, but like to the bars in college, to, you know, the high school basketball games that I was going to. It was not to create art. It was to capture and hold on to a memory in a moment. Once I realized why I was having this disconnect with my clients very early on in photography, it was because I realized I was so worried about trying to keep up with the industry's, I think, expectation of what portrait should look like. And that's not how I saw the world. I didn't see the world in a portrait. I didn't see the world in art. I saw the world in moments. And
what were you doing though back then? I want to stop you for a second because I'll forget this. What were you doing? What did it look like for you to essentially conform, or to essentially do something that you thought you were supposed to be doing, as opposed to who you really are and what you really wanted to do or should have done?
So, you know, a lot of photographers, when they have the tenure and they've learned their camera and they've kind of found their creative work, they look back and they kind of laugh at their old work. They're almost embarrassed. Like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know, for a while, and I did this because once I felt this disconnect and this, like, why don't I love photography anymore? I've literally had a camera from as long as I can remember. Right. Why don't I love this anymore? I started going back and I looked at my old work, trying to figure out what happened. Where did I lose this connection? When I looked back at my old work, yes, it was oversaturated. Yes, it was a little cheesy. Yes, it was all these things. But you know what I noticed? I was bold in my creativity. I was bold in stepping outside of the rules and just shooting what I saw and what I felt and what felt right to me. And I think I'm also a people pleaser, and I've learned that over the years, that I think I got so intimidated with what I saw the masses doing and felt like that obviously is what people wanted to see. I started doing that. And I can put it this way. I was a senior photographer. I actually kind of jumped into doing a few seniors, and a few companies way back when asked me to beta test and to do blog work, like actions, and do blog work for some of their forums and stuff. So I just with the seniors because I thought that's what people wanted of me, right? And what I noticed real quickly is I was taking a senior and I was having her wear a perfect outfit, and I was putting her in a perfect location with the perfect makeup and the perfect light. And I was taking this technically perfect portrait.
It sounds perfect.
It sounds perfect, but I don't see the world in a perfect light. I see the world in this gritty. I see, again, that's my human connection. I see maybe heartache and pain, and we all have a story. And even at 18, 19 years old, we have a story. But you know what? Even beyond that, even as 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds, I want them to be able to look back at this 18-year-old portrait and it to not be so perfect that they forget the story they started and what got to write them. Does that make sense? So it took me having to really to own kind of my own junk and to go, where is this disconnect? I had to put in the work. Why am I not connecting with what the industry at the time was saying what photography work should look like? And it didn't feel right to me. So I had to kind of break down and go, okay, where did I conform all of a sudden? And where is that not setting well with me? And, you know, just the other day, someone asked if I used a reflector. I don't, because I don't want perfect light. I feel like we all have in, you know, the shadows, we have that light and that dark, and that's the perfect epitome of what life is. There's going to be the light and there's going to be the dark, and you're never going to appreciate the light if you don't understand and see and embrace your dark. So I don't try to take a reflector. Whoa, the light is really wonky here because we have like heavy clouds and stuff. So I keep like,
as you're talking about the light and the dark,
here I am. So yeah, I embrace the raw and the gritty. I don't want my seniors to think of their portraits as a day. That's not what I'm not taking their pictures for a day. I'm taking their pictures for them to look back. And you know, sometimes when you like, and I've said this before, when you hear a song or you smell a smell and immediately it takes you back to a place in time that you didn't even remember you remembered until you heard that. Yeah. I want my seniors to look back at their portraits and to be like immediately reminded of Friday Night Lights or the songs they used to play in their room or the feeling they had, you know, walking into the kitchen in the morning, whatever. I want them to be hit with an emotion, not oh, look at my pretty outfit that I chose for my senior picture day, you know? So
did you get to a point where, all right, because over time you build a brand, right? And it sounds as though you started to shoot for what you thought a standard was, you know, based on the industry or whatever. But then at some point you started to be more yourself, I guess, and kind of do your own thing and really express who you were in your own style, right? And then you build a brand around that. Like that becomes something that at some point, did you see clients coming to you that were coming to you for your brand because you weren't shooting for some industry standard, so to speak? So you call it gritty as opposed to perfect light. Well, then you have a brand, right, that showcases that. And then did you see your clientele coming to you because they wanted that? Yes.
And here's why. Because what I realized was, you know, when we all start looking like each other, I feel like we all have our own fingerprints, right? I feel like we all have our own creative fingerprint. We all have our own unique way of seeing the world. I definitely feel like you could line 5 photographers up in one location with one client, and all 5 photographers should be able to see that location unique to them. I think when we all start replicating each other's work, then we blend in, and then what happens is the only way we stand out is with our pricing. So then the cheapest person wins. And at what point do we feel like winners when we're artists saying I won because I'm cheaper than anyone else. I feel like you're doing yourself a disjustice by not really being true to you. So absolutely, when I was shooting differently, you know, I didn't have the full calendar because not everyone wanted what I was offering, but the people who saw what I was offering and it related to them and they resonated with my work, they believed in me. They trusted me wholeheartedly with their sessions. At that point, I raised my prices. I shot less. You know, people will ask, well, what about the controlling mom who did it? I never had that. Because
you never had a controlling mom.
A mom, not once I owned my brain, once I started shooting dope, because I will tell my clients very quickly, you came to me because you saw something that grabbed you. If you can't trust the process, you're not going to get the work that you want from me. So you have to let me. It's like me going to my hairdresser and going, I want you to cut my hair with this kind of scissor. Well, no, that's not going to work. I don't know how to get the end product. Only she does because she's educated in that. So they have to trust me with what I can.
Were the parents or the moms in particular are they a big part of your sessions, or do you generally like to take the seniors out by yourself?
Whatever makes them more comfortable, but a lot of times I want the moms to experience it. It's a day. It's a fun day. My senior, I actually just 2 days ago, I shot a senior and her mom said, we're in a 3-way text. So me, the mom, and the senior, while we're figuring out locations and outfits and all the things, and I have control over every part of the session. The mom said, I don't think I'm going to come because she doesn't feel like she will be able to be herself around me. And I told her, I said, I don't want you to miss out on this moment. She needs to trust that she's not going to get to be anything less than herself because I'm going to be dictating the session. You won't be. So you just get the onlook. That's all. And I direct them so much, they don't have time to think what mom's doing. They're listening to me and everything that I'm doing. So they don't.
You said a lot in that response without having to say it. You know what I mean? Like, I read into that a lot, and I think it makes a lot of sense. You're like, yeah, mom, you're going to be there, but this isn't your gig. I've got the reins on this, right? But at the same time, you do want her there to be a part of the experience. And then at the same time, you're reassuring the senior that, yeah, mom's going to be there, but this is really all about you, right? There's a lot going on in that response. Tell me this, what sort of similarities do you see? I get the creative piece, right? Between photography and between interior decorating. But what sort of similarities do you see when it comes down to the subjectivity of style, right? So how do you take that mindset into an interior design piece and think, oh, there's an industry standard, or maybe there's rules, so to speak, that look like this? And how do you go into something like that and unabashedly break those rules too?
I think they all kind of connect in the sense of, again, it's about a feeling. I don't want you to walk into a room and to notice bits and pieces of the room. I want you to feel something when you walk into the room. I'm real big again. And that's one of those things that I had to discover with myself. I've always been this way, but with light and the way light comes into a room, or, like the way I design a room is, well, this is really weird. When I will flip a home. So when I'm about to purchase a home that I know that we're going to flip, a lot of times I just go into the empty house and I just sit. I just want to sit, because I don't walk into that house and have a design in mind. This is the design I'm giving this house. I go into the house and I kind of let the house dictate the design it deserves. Like its bones are there. It's about me reading what is already there and then making it the best it can be. And that's kind of what I do with my seniors. They're them. The bones are there. It's about me capturing them the best way I can show their story and their journey through my camera. It's all the same. And, along with design and photography, I also do a lot of like coaching women, speaking and stuff like that. And again, it's that same connection. you are there. Your thoughts, your beliefs, what you want is there. You just have to decide to hear it, see it, act on it, and believe in it. So it's all the same. It all goes into this whole, I want everything to realize its own beauty, whether it's the home, whether it's a senior, whether it's a woman or a photographer kind of struggling in her place in photography, or, whatever it may be.
So you do coaching and mentoring too, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just for women?
No, I've actually, with photography and stuff, I've mentored men as well. People have said to me a lot that I kind of shoot a little bit more like a man than I would a woman. For whatever reason, I don't necessarily.
I don't even know what that means.
Maybe
I should know what that means.
Right. Yeah. Right. I'm just like, and I see a lot of my favorite photographers. A lot of my favorite photographers actually are male photographers. I think they're less worried about the pretty and the perfection than I think some women are, possibly. I feel like a lot of men get a little bit more raw and gritty than some women photographers do. There's no exception. There's exceptions to the rules all the way through.
Of course.
But yeah, so I also run a company that, it's a network marketing company where women are kind of able to dream big, and I motivate them, and I coach them on, okay doesn't have to be okay. Sometimes we get my work's okay. My income is okay, but you don't have to stop at okay. Just because it's okay doesn't mean there's not room for more. And you might have more in you, but you can't settle with okay.
In fact, from my perspective, okay definitely means objectively that there is room for more.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're saying it's okay, you're saying it's not good. It certainly isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. So push yourself to find out what else is in the tank. What else do you have?
Okay. Now that's all great stuff. And I'm glad that we covered that. But you wear a lot of hats, you got a lot of irons in the fire. But from my perspective, following you on the gram, your most important hat is mom.
Mm-hmm. It is.
You have 4 kids.
Yeah, lots.
Can you tell me about your children a little bit?
Well, they're teens. they're typical teens. I think it kind of all goes. My most important hat is a mom, but hear me when I say this. Also one of the most important things about being a mom is showing your children you're willing to believe in yourself. Because if you can believe in yourself, you're training them that they can believe in themselves. So I want my kids to, obviously my kids are going to love me, I'm their mom, but I want them to have the opportunity to be proud of me. And I want them to see that I stumble and I fall and I trip up, but it's not those things that define me. It's what I do after that. So the one thing that I kind of, and I'm a little bit unconventional when it comes to my parenting, because if you follow me on social media, my friends, my kids and I are very, very, very close.
You're tight, close. Yeah.
And a lot of it is because, the age-old saying, they're your kids, they're not your friends.
Right.
I wiped that out the window a long time ago.
Yes.
Because I want my kids to be my friends. I am their mom. They can't get rid of that. They can't shake that, but they can choose whether or not they're my friend. And I want them to always choose me as a friend. So, there's some things I think that I teach them that they're not perfect. They're 15, 16, 18, 20. They're going to stumble. They're going to fall. I'm not ever going to put my kids on this pedestal of you better behave this way or you're going to be in trouble. Because why? Because I'm in my 40s still falling, still stumbling, still making mistakes, still inadvertently some of my mistakes hurt them. I want them to show me grace, and the only way they're going to learn to show grace is by receiving grace. So my kids know that I have expectations of them. my kids know that, you know, I am going to always offer advice and train and teach them things. Hey, I did this and it didn't work out for me. You still get to make your own decision. If it doesn't work out for you, I'm going to love you through it. I'm not going to save you. I'm not going to save you from your decisions. I will love you through your decision. So together we'll work on it. But I also believe that, you know, when you're 16 and you're having a great day, you're going to turn to your friend. When you're having a bad day, you're going to turn to your friend. When you're super excited and have something you want to share, you're going to turn to your friend. When you're in trouble, you're going to turn to your friend. If I'm not their friend, they're turning to another stupid 16-year-old for all that advice, and I'm missing out on a lot, right? So I want to be their friend, and sometimes that means, you know, having to hear and know things you don't want to know, but it's so you can know and decipher through the things that you need to know, you know?
Help me with this part. I think we're on the same page for the most part. Full disclosure, I am typically the guy that would say, I'm not your friend, I'm your dad.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But, however, I want that relationship, the friend piece as well. Maybe I want to have my cake. Maybe it's because I want to have my cake and eat it too. Maybe that's what it is. But here's the part that's you said something. Okay, I'm not going to save you, right? Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm absolutely going to save you. But then the more you fleshed it out, I was like, I get what she's saying. Mm-hmm. Help me with it a little bit. Can you unpack the save piece and give me, if you can, maybe you have to make something up rather than a real life example, but give me like an example of what that means and what that looks like. Like this happens, right? Mom's not coming to the rescue. You're dealing with this on your own because I'm not going to save you. What does that mean?
You know, the one kind of quote that I tell my kids all the time, we all have to live and die by the mistakes we make. We all live and die by our decisions. I can guide you in a decision, but inevitably it's your decision. So, you know, I have three. My oldest son is about to be 21. My twins are 19, all three boys. And then I have a 15-year-old daughter. So, you know, I'm just now starting the girl thing. But for example, for my sons, and this is something that you just have to address whether you like it or not with all of them. But, you know, for my sons, I'm like, listen, you get to live and die by the decisions you make. Now, I was a very young mom. I was 22 when I had my son. 22 in the grand scheme of things is still pretty darn young. Yeah. I have told my kids, it wasn't easy. I missed out on this opportunity. Now, I love you and I've worked through it, but could I have waited and things been a little easier for me? Absolutely. So a classic example is if you want to go out and do all the things teen boys are doing, and you get someone pregnant, I'm going to love you through, but I'm not raising that kid. That's your decision. That is, if you have to quit school, if you don't get your college scholarship, that's on you. I'm not watching that kid so you can fulfill your college scholarship. Right. That's you. You get to live and die by the decision. So
you lay it down. You lay it down big.
For sure. I mean, I will love that baby. That baby is a baby.
Right.
It's my baby. It's your baby. Right. And I'm going to still go travel. I'm still going to go shop and buy the things I want because my money is my money. You're the one who's going to be eating ramen tending to a kid if that's your choice. Now, I'm going to love you. I'm going to love the baby, but that's your choice, you know?
No. I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, it's interesting that you brought all that up because it leads me to, okay, man, I feel like this is a risky one, but I want to bring it up. A few different times I've read via what you've posted and what's on your website about the midlife crisis piece. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Well, I mean, you don't seem like you have had or are having a midlife crisis to me.
Well, you know, it might not necessarily be a midlife crisis. But I guess what I kind of feel about it is, you know, I had kids young. So I immediately went from who my parents said I was to now what society says I should be. Because now I'm a mom.
Nice.
I'm just chugging along doing all the things that I'm supposed to do. by society standards. And now my kids are older and I'm realizing I still have a voice. I still am a person. And so sometimes, but yet I'm a big and firm believer in, like I said before, fighting for that lifestyle that's more than okay. So I want to travel. I want to work on my own terms. I feel like I am a creative, like God created me with these little seeds that are burning fire inside of me that society says, but you're a mom. So you should just make sandwiches and little bitty cute little coolers and with all the fruit.
There are parts of society that do say that.
Right? Whereas like I'm the kind of mom who my daughter literally had to text me and was like, Mom, make sure you check on your calendar because I know I have a dentist appointment coming up. And I'm like, oh gosh, was it today? I don't know, you know? So I've also just had to accept that I'm not like this little like beaver cleaver mom. Like I'm, for lack of better words, kind of this spitfire shit show that you just really never know. I mean, when I do things, I do it with 100% of my heart, but that also means sometimes I forget about the things like dentist appointments or peeled oranges for the team at the t-ball field, you know, like, So it's not necessarily that it's a midlife crisis. It's more of me just kind of owning my stuff and going, you know what? I get it, society. I get that this is what you think I should do, but I really am not going to play by your rules. So
I love how you talk to society like it's just another friend or another person that's giving you crap. You're like, I get it, society.
I mean, I hear you, society, but get in your own lane. I'm going to do me, okay?
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Wow. I'm realizing we could have like a series of podcasts because there's so many different tributaries that are popping up in my head, but I got to stay focused or this will last way too long. Here's what I want to ask you. Okay. Now, so let's see. That's all good stuff, but I wanted to end with this. This was what I wanted to kind of build up to. So you had a post the other day. And you and I we've talked back and forth a few different times on the DMs. And then you posted this thing the other day. And right away I was like, I'm going to reach out and try to really make this happen. And this is how you ended your post. And I would like you to comment on this. You said, there's a plan written in a book we haven't read yet. This is just one more chapter. I would like to hear your thoughts on that, your expanded thoughts on that.
I mean, I'm very strong in my faith. I definitely, even right now, I'm trying to do something, take a big business move. And I got bold and I'm negotiating with somebody. And I negotiated and I probably, you know, in a lot of people's minds think, ooh, that was like minimal. But it's almost like, no, but this is where I know with a surety that God is stepping in and taking control because my little bit of negotiation is going to it's going to give me that confidence that if they agree to my terms, then God's hand was in it. If I just agreed to their terms, I'm kind of just working off my own emotion. So I feel like kind of with a lot of things, I am the oddest combination of like super chill when I probably should be worked up and super worked up when everything should be chill. I've got Italian running through my blood and I'm just this little Tasmanian devil. Like I'm this little bitty spitfire monkey that just feels like, you know, she can climb you and just, but yet at the end, I know God's got me. So, you know, I've gone through some things. You follow me on Instagram, you know, like I had a son, one of my twins who was born with a bone disease. And the only answer was amputation. When he was 2, that was the only way. We took him everywhere. And long story short, we ended up going to a hospital. They did an experimental surgery and he was the first person in history with this disease to actually keep his leg. So circle all the way back through his senior year, he was in a horse accident and broke his leg. So here we are now. He's the first reported case in history to keep his leg. Now he's the first reported case in history to break a kept leg.
To break the leg that he kept.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm like,
right.
hey, let's just keep adding to the history books.
Right.
Can we stop this?
Right. Right,
I was
right.
good with the first one, So I've had to realize, I think mainly through that, I think that was probably my first real gut punch to realizing like I'm not in control of things. And there's some things that I can worry about and there's some things that aren't. And my son's story is already written. And so I tell him all the time, your story is already written. It's about how you hear it, how you receive it, and how you act upon it. So I kind of feel like with the election and everything being so crazy, God's got this. Again, this is all just a part of the chapters that we're just supposed to walk through. And it's not necessarily, we can have an opinion, but it's really about how we act and how we react to when things don't match up to our opinion or when our friends don't believe our opinions are valid. It's not us sharing and trying to get someone to believe something opposite of what they believe. It's about learning and growing from every situation that you encounter. So
I like that.
I kind of feel like, let's just sit back and relax and learn things from people. I feel like when we disagree, that is my opportunity to say, hey, there's something I don't understand. And it's my option to learn that and to shift my opinion. I don't necessarily then mean I'm going to agree with you, but I'm going to have an open and receptive heart to see why you see the way you do. And if I can't become a better person from things that I don't understand, then I don't think that I'm doing myself a justice because
Wonderful.
I feel like that's
so
just,
true.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely feel, like I said, I'm at peace with a lot of things I probably should not be. And I'm like wired up at 2 a.m. about things that really are so irrelevant the next day.
Oh, I wish I could say that I could not relate to that, but
Right?
I have the same thing going on most of the time. To finish with this, where's the best place for people to find you on all the places online that people can find you?
Instagram. I'm just pretty much 100% myself on Instagram stories. Facebook. I don't really do Facebook much. I did TikTok for a hot minute, which is awful because having teenagers, anything you do, they're like, Mom, that's so embarrassing. Mom, will you do that with me though, so I can get some of your followers? And I'm like,
right. I get that. That's funny.
So yeah, Instagram is the best.
And it's just Spanky Mills on Instagram. Yeah, I have it right up here.
Spanki. If you look up anything with a Y, I'm not held responsible. So if it's not,
you're not going to save anybody that looks it up with the Y. They're on their own.
Yep.
You'll love them, but you're not going to save them from the Spanky with the Y's.
If your computer gets a virus, it's not on me. I'm gonna love you through it, but.
Oh, hey, thank you for your time. This was absolutely wonderful. I really appreciate it.
I enjoyed getting to visit.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this conversation presented by White House Custom Color on YouTube. Be sure to check out our other content and click that subscribe button right there. Right. Right there. It's there somewhere.